for checking out my channel, World War II Books Where to Start. Today we're going to do a short take. We're going to do a book and a movie. So I like to combine a film with a book if it's available, to compare what they left out, what they added in, how they stack up against each other. And it's always good to get a visual idea of what the events were, because obviously we weren't there to live it. So today we're going to take a look at something called The Raft by Robert Trumbull. This was published during the war in 1942. And this is one of the original editions. My father-in-law found this years ago and passed it on to me. If you get a modern edition today, it's going to look much slicker in trade paperback. It looks much nicer, and we'll have a photo section. I think this originally did have some pictures in it, if I can find it. It's got that ridiculous deco edging, as they call it. The paper is not smooth and lined up, so when you go to thumb through, it's very difficult to find what you want. Yeah, so they did have a photo section way back then. Today's photo section will look much better. So The Raft is the story of a crew of TBD Devastator on a carrier raid on the South Pacific in early 42, when we were getting our act together after Pearl Harbor and just doing hit-and-run raids to get some experience and just poke the fingers at the Japanese, let them know that we're not done. We're still capable of striking back. So this particular aircraft got lost on its way back due to a navigational error, or a plotting error, or incorrect information given out by the carrier air staff when the strike took off. No one really knows to this day. There's a bit of a contention about it. But at any rate, they get lost, ran out of fuel, and have to ditch in a bit of nasty weather. And all three crewmen survive. They pop to the surface and get in the raft, and there they are. And if this strikes you as the exact same storyline as Unbroken, yeah, well, pretty much, because they don't end up in POW captivity with the Japanese. They get home alive and well. But first, there's trials and tribulations. The normal thing you find in the South Pacific: starvation, dehydration, and storms, sharks. So, yeah, there are a lot of parallels there, obviously. It's worthwhile reading. It's very quick. And for wartime writing, it's very good. There's not a lot of really small amount of rah-rah, sis-boom-bah, flag waving, which is kind of surprising for wartime writing. I enjoyed it. As a journalist who interviewed the officer who was the pilot of the aircraft after he got back to Pearl Harbor and recovered, to tell the story. So for being a journalist in wartime, it's actually pretty responsible writing. Well told, really. And then in 2014, or 2015, somewhere around there, they made a film out of it called Against the Sun, starring people I have never heard of: Garrett Dillahunt, Tom Felton, and Jake Abel. Don't know him. Very low budget. And this is so low budget that when they drag the baby shark into the boat to try to kill it and eat it, you can tell it's a fake rubber prop. It's that low budget. I think Alfred Hitchcock's 1944 movie Lifeboat had a better budget. Because, yeah, they're in a tank faking that they're on a lifeboat in the middle of the Atlantic, but it looked better in 1944 than 2014 on a low budget, doing the same kind of thing. We're in a tank with a black backdrop for nighttime scenes. Oh, boy. So the budget really affected some of the quality here. I will say they got the aircraft right. When they ditched, it is a three-seater. You can tell it's a Devastator. They didn't cheat there. They didn't use the Avenger mock-up. Kudos to that. I like that's kind of Rivet County stuff I can get into without being bullet by bullet. So taken together is a nice 1-2 punch. The actors are up to the task here. It's not sensationalized. It's not over dramatized. And I will say this also: if the Air Force had used the same manufacturer for life rafts as the Navy did, the guys in Unbroken would have had a much easier time. The quality difference is amazing. This life raft hung together really well in an inflatable rubber boat, considering how long they were out there on the water and getting brushed by sharks and all the storms and whatnot. And to the point where they actually salvaged it and took it back to Pearl Harbor with them for a publicity photograph of all three of them in the boat to demonstrate what it was like, what the tight quarters were. That's a great photo in the book. And I think the Air Force kind of let their men down for survival and the gear they gave them. Just one of those things, man. The expansion in wartime got to pump out as many units as we can, as quickly as we can. Quality control is just not there. But the Navy did a much better job taking care of their men in that respect than the Air Force did, and that's my commentary on that. So just a short take today. That's all I've got. The Raft and Against the Sun, worthwhile checking out as a 1-2 punch reading and viewing. Until next time, happy reading and viewing.